Everyone, I call this quarterly meeting of the Texas Veterans Commission to order. Mr. Secretary, do we have a quorum?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Thank you. I'm going to have Commissioner Barber lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. flag and Commissioner Wright to lead us for the Texas flag.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Now I request Chip Osborne to come forward to give us the opening prayer.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this day, and we ask that you be with our commissioners as they make decisions on behalf of the agency and its veterans and families. We also want to thank our commissioners, Mike Hernandez and Mary Lopez Dale, for their service to the Texas Veterans Commission, which they have provided for several years. We wish them as well as they conclude their time on the commission. Father, continue to protect all service members serving abroad and provide protection for their families. In Christ's name, I humbly pray. Amen.
Amen. Our next item on the agenda is public comment. I do have two people who have requested to speak, but they're on agenda items, so we will have those happen during those agenda items. Is there anyone else that wanted to sign up for public comment? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to the next agenda item, which is the consent agenda. And at this time, does any commissioner wish to remove anything off the consent agenda and place it on the main agenda? No? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda? So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is our presentations. And we have two presentations today. First is a presentation of the University of Texas in Arlington 2025 Vera Award. And commissioners, when it's time, we're going to come down. Are we going to come down right now? Let's all come down to the...
You, ma'am.
Okay, let's come down to the front.
Okay. I want to introduce Dr. Edward King Sr., from the Director of Military and Veterans and Military Service at the University of Texas at Arlington. I just have a few remarks, then I'll read the award, and then obviously turn it over to you guys to present that award. Good morning, Chairwoman Kerner, Commissioners, Mr. Palladino. For the record, my name is David Salgado. I'm the Director of Veterans Education. I'm excited to be here today to recognize the University of had to do that like 4 times. The University of Texas at Arlington with their Gold Veteran Education Excellence Recognition Award. This award, established by the state of Texas, recognizes universities and colleges that provide excellence in education and related services, which significantly contribute to the academic success of student veterans and military-connected students. Texas Veterans Commission evaluated applicants on a variety of criteria that highlight the various education and ancillary services offered by an institution, and which contribute greatly to the overall success of veterans and their families. Some of the services the University of Texas at Arlington provides to over 2,500 veterans and military-connected students are Centralized Military and Veteran Services Center, Physical and Mental Health Services. Specifically, they are a Purple Heart University recognized by the Military Order of the Purple Heart. They have VA work studies, veteran and military-connected policies such as priority registration, and on-campus housing that allows veterans to room together. They have an SVA chapter and career services that partner with TVC to find students not just jobs, but careers. These are just a few of the many, many services offered by the University of Texas at Arlington. I don't think we have enough time to go through all of the ones that they have there. TVC provides 3 levels of recognition: gold, silver, and bronze, to highlight the depth and breadth of services provided to veteran students and their families. Sir, I want to thank you and your institution for your outstanding efforts in supporting veterans and our military-connected students. Your services are critical to their successful transition into civilian life. I look forward to your continued partnership and your submission the next cycle of the VIA Recognition Awards. Let me read the award. Texas Veterans Commission Veteran Education Excellence Recognition Award is presented to the University of Texas at Arlington. This award is authorized by the Texas Legislature to recognize institutions of higher education for excellence in providing education and related services to student veterans and military-connected students. Your commitment to supporting the needs of these students and providing exceptional services has significantly contributed to their academic success and is greatly appreciated by all Texas veterans. Chairwoman Laura Kerner, Vice Chair Kevin Barber, Secretary Chuck Wright, Member Mike Hernandez, Member Mary Lopez Dale, and Executive Director Thomas Palladino.
He was trying to hide out. Guys, join me in one more round of applause.
Next item on the agenda is presentation of joint activities between the Veteran Land Board and the Texas Veterans Commission. And I'll ask Executive Secretary Tony Dale and Jimmy Smamargus, I am not going to get that right, I apologize, from the Veteran Land Board to give the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Commissioners, my name is Jimmy Smargus. I am the Director of Marketing and Outreach for the Texas Veterans Land Board. I will present the fiscal year 2025 annual report on outreach activities and the Texas Veterans Call Center. In fiscal year 25, the VLB outreach team hosted or participated in over 890 veterans outreach events. We partner with and support the Texas Veterans Commission on outreach efforts and events throughout the state. These include benefits fairs, statewide veterans conferences, visits to military installations, colleges and universities, presentations to veteran service offices, long-term care community, and outreach to various law enforcement agencies and other government agencies. The VLB and TVC co-hosted 2 full-service veterans benefits fairs in Canyon near Amarillo on June 28th and in the Rio Grande Valley in Edinburgh on January 18th. Both events brought in hundreds of military members and their families, veterans, and supporters. We could not do this without the partnership and support of Margaret and her entire team in communications and outreach at the Texas Veterans Commission. We also work with the TVC to raise awareness of our programs and benefits during the month-long State Fair of Texas. We just wrapped that up at the end of October and had another great, successful year, and we appreciate all the TVC staff coming and helping us support that event. The VLB team has conducted multiple TV and radio interviews with the TVC to promote VLB and TVC programs and raise awareness of the steps necessary to access each benefit program. VLB reps have also appeared on TVC's The Voice of Texas Veterans podcast, and TVC staff, including several commissioners, have also been interviewed for VLB's Voices of Veterans program, and we appreciate that support as well. The VLB operates a joint Texas Veterans Call Center with the Texas Veterans Commission to provide detailed information on VLB and TVC programs, benefits, and services. The VLB Call Center answered approximately 54,500 calls in fiscal year 25. Approximately 20,000 of those calls were answered for the Texas Veterans Commission and for questions about their benefits and programs. Most of those calls were related to scheduling an appointment to process benefit claims or questions about existing claims and claims appointments. We work very closely, and I think Saul's, oh, there he is. Yes, we work very closely with Saul and his team in the claims area to ensure that our veterans receive the best possible service, and we're grateful for the partnership and the support from Saul and his entire team. It's an honor and privilege for us to partner with the Texas Veterans Commission to serve veterans, military members, and their families. We look forward to working together in fiscal year 2026 to plan many exciting events to serve veterans, military members, and their families, to ensure that they're aware of all their state benefits and services and also how to access their state benefits and services. I welcome any questions, but I also have one more quick thing before I'm finished. But I wanted to open the floor if anybody has any questions about their report.
Any question?
Okay, that's great. If I may, I have a token of appreciation from VLB Chairwoman Dr. Dawn Buckingham for Ms. Dale.
Oh, wonderful. Yes.
I can come down if you want.
Okay. Madam Chair, members, my name is Tony Dale. I'm the Executive Secretary of the Texas Veterans Land Board. And on behalf of Commissioner Don Buckingham and my board, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today. You just heard from Jimmy about some of the things that we do on the marketing side and the outreach side to make sure the veterans are connected with their benefits. But I want to talk to you about another partnership that we have, which is critically important to our veterans that live in our state veterans nursing homes. As you're aware, we currently run 10 state veterans nursing homes across the state. Recently, Chair Kerner and I were in Bexar County at the Commissioner's Court, where they're looking forward to donating 27 acres of land for what we hope to be our 11th home in Bexar County. And I appreciate your support in that effort. Absolutely. And that'll bring a great service to that area where there's a gap in a county that has the most veterans and military members in the state of Texas. So we're looking forward to that. But what we do with these veterans when they come in is that we work closely with y'all to make sure that the veterans that are in those homes understand that they may have an opportunity to make claims with the Veterans Administration. And this is critically important for them in a number of ways. 2 years ago, I came over and met with Tom and with Sal Castillo and said, look, we've got veterans that have never made claims before in these homes. And can we set up a program where your team is specifically coming in, meeting with the residents, examining their current claim status, and seeing if we can get it upgraded? The reason that matters is because it puts dollars into the pockets of the veterans that gives them the ability to help pay for their care. But most importantly, any veteran that is 70% service-connected, disabled, or more lives in our homes at no charge. They also keep that monthly check. So when the VA sends them their monthly check, they put it in their pocket and everything's included in their care. So that's their room, their board, their prescription drugs, their whatever other physical therapy they receive at the facility, activities, et cetera. So it's a huge life-changing deal for some of these veterans. In your packet, you should have a memo that outlines the activities from FY24, which was a partial year. And in that year, TVC reps made 30 visits to our various homes and submitted 96 packets to the VA, which resulted in 9 first-time awards and 17 veterans getting upgraded to above 70. So 17 veterans in that partial year got back pay. So they got back pay from the VA. We also refund all of their, whatever they paid to us at the VLB from the date of that claim as well. So they got a refund on that and then started living there at no cost. So in FY25, we had our first full year of activity working with you and Sal Castillo's team. And there were 93 visits to our various homes, which resulted in 384 claims being sent to the VA. Some are still in process today, but 43 veterans got first-time claims approved, and 45 veterans were bumped above 70%. So for those 45 veterans that are now above 70. That's millions of dollars in value that was returned to them. And now they're living there at no charge. And it is a huge, huge deal. And I just wanted to come here and say that we very much appreciate, on behalf of the veterans that live in our homes, this effort. I want it to be something that is sustained, and I think that y'all agree with that as well. I'm not saying you need to take action, because I feel like we've got a methodology in place. We're able to work, especially with our new residents as they come in. This is a standard thing now, which warms my heart. And I tell you, I've met with some of these veterans that just tell me, they're like, "Hey, look, I'm paying for my granddaughter's college now. It's relieves so much pressure off my family or themselves." And it is huge. I can't tell you what a big deal it means to these veterans. So thank you for that. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. And I look forward to, by the way, I've got a goal of increasing the number of 70% disabled veterans by 20% in this next year. And so your efforts towards that are going to be critical. And we did 17% last year. We had a 20% goal. 17 is pretty good. We're looking for 20. So happy to answer any questions you may have. And thank you to the staff here and to Sal and his team for the efforts you do on behalf of our veterans.
Thank you, Tony. I really appreciate you coming out and sharing this. It's so important for us, for our partnership and our collaboration, for everyone to understand how well we work together and how that collaboration helps veterans. So thank you so much for coming and highlighting that. Any questions or comments?
Just a quick comment.
One question.
Okay, hold on. I have Commissioner Dale.
Oh, go ahead.
Come to
I'm
you.
sorry, I didn't see this.
I just wanted to point out real quick, because one of the things that is on your summary that you didn't mention is the retroactive payments they were able to get for the veterans. That's money that they had earned and did not get. So it's $3,688,000 in retroactive payments from the VA. So that's huge. And I know you will hear me rave about how our staff works here, but they're on a mission here. And being able to interact with some of the VLB staff as well, they're amazing, and they're also on their mission. And so it's really great to see people who go to work to fulfill their mission, and we really appreciate the VLB staff for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Barber?
Excuse me, Tony, those are outstanding results. Congratulations. Sal, congratulations to your team. Tony, do you know what the waiting list is on a total for each, not for each home, just total?
Well, so I'll answer your question, but I'll say that the demand for our homes is very high. So nationally, the average daily census, or the population in a state veterans home, is about 72%. That includes Texas. But Texas alone, we're at about 96% full all the time. Some of our homes stay essentially 100% full until there's a vacancy. We have two different waiting lists, essentially. Most homes do have a waiting list. And it just depends what kind of care you need. If you need memory care, which is about a quarter of each home's population, the waiting list is longer because there's less of that service available. I'd be happy to give you the specifics. I don't have them on me, but we do maintain waiting lists. We take people on a first come, first served basis, and we have two lists, one for memory care and one for general skilled nursing care.
No worries. You don't need to follow up. I just wondered if it was a big waiting list, or if obviously it's very manageable at 96%. So.
Before we opened up Fort Worth, for example, we had over 200 people on the waiting list for a home that fits 120 people. So there's big demand. In fact, later today, we're having a workshop with our board where we're going to be discussing our expansion plans, whatever their plans are for state veterans homes, and I will execute whatever their vision is. So I'll know more later today.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Oh, Tom.
So I just want to, for the record, Tony, the VLB is a great partners with the Texas Veterans Commission, especially under your leadership and in Jimmy's leadership in the marketing. So I've been doing this 15 years, and our relationship with the VLB has always been good. But under your leadership and under Commissioner Buckingham's leadership of the VLB, it's been great, and it has really improved over the long term. And we do everything together. We like to say that VLB and TVC are like sister agencies. And thank you for including all of our commissioners in events at the cemeteries or at the homes. And I know that a couple of our commissioners Laura Kerner, Kevin Barber are on the cemetery committee as well. We do all the outreach events together. We do claims for the residents of the homes. We work with veterans in getting the word out, awareness of all the services that both our agencies do. And your call center has really gotten better and better and better every single year. So I appreciate the collaboration. And it's, I would say it's the strongest partnership that we have in state government is our two agencies. So thank you very much.
I appreciate that, and we feel the same way. So thank you. And unless there's any other questions, I have a presentation for Sal Castillo. If I could get
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
We also have a coin from the Commissioner and Board. Sal. Sal, I know you've got a big staff behind you.
Next on our agenda item is FY 2025 an annual internal audit report. And I'm going to ask Kim Gonzalez from Garza Gonzalez and Associates to give this report.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the Commission, Mr. Palladino. I'm Kim Lopez Gonzalez. I'm here representing Garza Gonzalez and Associates, the CPA firm that this body has selected to perform the internal audit functions for TVC. I'm here this morning to present to you the internal audit annual financial report for fiscal year 2025. This is the first year that we've completed our audit functions for the agency, and I want to tell you that it's been a really positive experience. We've learned a lot about the agency, and I know there's a lot more to learn. And we've built a good working relationship also with everyone that we've worked with throughout the agency. The annual audit report that you have before you does meet the requirements of the Internal Audit Annual Report, the Internal Audit Act requirements, and also meets the State Auditor's Office guidelines. This report was required to be submitted to the SAO and other agencies by November 1st, and it was submitted with the condition that if there were any changes to be made upon presenting here to the board, we would make those changes and submit a revised report. This, I believe you have the report included in your board packet. Page 1 of the report is our report to you, indicating that we have completed the internal audit functions for the agency. And the report that's also included here is the second audit that we performed as part of our audit plan, the approved audit plan for fiscal year 2025, and that is the Veterans Entrepreneur Program. Those results are also included in here, and we will get to that later on in the report. And also, in addition to that, we performed follow-up procedures of the audit comment that was outstanding as of fiscal year 2024, which is also included in the later part of this report. If you don't mind flipping to page 3, I'm just going to summarize some of the areas of this report, but I'd be happy to answer any questions as I'm going along as well. But page 3 does summarize the 2025 internal audit plan that was dated November 18th, 2024, and approved by the Commission on February 13th, 2025. As part of that authorized audit plan, we were to perform the risk assessment and preparation of the 2025 internal audit plan. We were to perform the Women Veterans Program audit, the Veterans Entrepreneur Program audit, follow up on prior year internal audit comments and recommendations, prepare the 2025 internal audit annual report, and any other tasks that were requested of us. We did not have any other tasks to perform, and we did present the Women's Veterans Program audit during the board meeting at August 12, 2025. And if you don't mind, the rest of the information in the following pages are just information that's required to be included to comply with the SAO's guidelines and the Internal Audit Act requirements. But page 6 of the report does give you a summary of the functions that we performed, which is the Women Veterans Program. That report was dated May 6th, and as indicated, it was presented at the August board meeting. The Veterans Entrepreneur Program is dated September 23rd, 2025, and it is presented here today. Happy to report that we did have a meeting with all management that we worked with, and also the management related to the executive management team, I guess, Mr. Palladino and his staff. We did present that to him. Pages 7 through 11 of the report is just information, background information related to the Veteran Entrepreneur Program. We like to give some background information on the audits that we perform so that the third-party readers do have some background related to the functions that the areas do perform. I'm not going to go through everything, but I would like to go through some of the statistics that are included on page 11 of the report related to the Veterans Entrepreneur Program, because I think it's very important to highlight the significance of the program and the workload that they have throughout the year. Actually, this is for 10 months into June 30th, 2025. So our audit was from September 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. So that's 10 months. And during those 10 months, there was a total of 19,110 case service requested from the program itself. So that is a significant number, and that is just broken down between the case service types that they do the services that they do offer. So did want to highlight that to you because I think it's important to put everything in perspective of the program and the size of the program and the workload of the program versus the staff size of it, that they're able to keep up with that. Page 12 of the audit report does provide the audit objective, the scope, and the methodology, and also the procedures that were performed that allowed us to come to the conclusions of the audit that we performed. Page 13 provides a summary of the observations and findings and recommendations. There were two findings. One of them is the opportunities to strengthen policies and procedures, and the other one is the enhancements needed in Salesforce controls to improve data integrity. The observation is related to staffing and oversight constraints that present challenges for program effectiveness. And the details of those, as you can see, which are lengthy, can be found on pages 14 through 16 of the report. I don't want to go through, not that I don't want to, but if you want me to, I will. But as I said, they are lengthy, but they are in here. The comment is in here. The recommendation is in here. And management's responses, which I'm happy to report that they do concur with the recommendation. And they have provided, which is included in here, their plan of action on addressing the comment and recommendation in place. If you have any comments related to those, I'd be happy to answer them. If not,
Any questions or comments? Okay, continue.
Okay, on page 17 of the report is the follow-up of the prior year internal audit. There was only one comment that was outstanding as of fiscal year 2024 as a result of the predecessor auditor that was here for the TVC, and that was related to the claims manual finalization, and that comment was fully implemented. And lastly, on page 18, again, that's just information that's required to be included, but I did want to indicate that the internal audit plan for fiscal year 2026 is on today's agenda, so you will see me back up here under the next section. But and that summarizes the fiscal year 2024 annual internal audit report. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
Any questions on the audit report? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next agenda item is agency program and division updates. I'll call on each division director, deputy executive director, and the executive director to provide an update to the commission. So first is our Veteran Benefits Division Director, Charlie Cato.
Snappy tie today, Charlie.
Yeah.
Good morning, Chair Kerner, Commissioners, Mr. Palladino. For the record, I'm Charlie Cato. I'm the Director of the Veteran Benefits Division. Got quite a bit of information for you today, so I'm not going to promise to be brief. I got a lot going on. I'll start off with our claims department. As you recall from the last session of the legislature, they gave us 9 new claims benefit advisor FTEs. Happy to tell you that where they are and how we are in the hiring process. The first portion of them, we took 4 and added to our after hours claims benefit advisors. We put 4 people there. We filled those positions with experienced CBAs since they're remote work from home, so they can do that. Our pilot program showed that was a much in demand program, and we've opened it up for a little bit more opportunity for appointments. The 4 vacancies created by filling those after hour CBAs, of those 2 are filled now, and we've got 2 that are still posted. Moving on to the other 5 of 9, we chose to put 1 in Odessa in the Ector County Courthouse. We worked to deal with them. That one is not filled yet. It is posted. We have 2 going into San Antonio in the Northwest VA Clinic. Both of those are posted. 1 additional in the Houston RO. That one has been filled. And 1 in the Hutto City Hall. That position has been filled. We're just waiting for the execution of the MOU so we can occupy the office space. So that's all 9. We're moving forward with those. Also wanted to report claims held their leadership team building and policy planning meeting last month. Here in Southwest Austin. They brought the leaders, district managers, and supervisors together for 2 days. Shout out to our training folks. They helped us with the team building and scenarios, and it was a great, successful meeting. I also want to report to you on my 4 departments on the impact of the federal shutdown. We know that they signed off on it and government is open again, but there's still going to be some lingering effects and what we experienced. First off, the regional offices were closed and all of our regional office staff was working from home. I'm happy to report this morning, the Houston regional office is open. It's not open to the public, but some staff is there. It will be completely open and everybody back in tomorrow. For the Waco regional office, everybody is back in today. However, the VA didn't pay their internet bill, so they're there, but they don't have internet yet. No. We also had the claims benefit advisors, for the most part, in the Veterans Health Administration facilities remained open and stayed in place. We had one exception to that, the Northwest Clinic in San Antonio. That space was deemed VBA space in a VHA facility, so they asked us to leave about a week into the shutdown. They're going to be allowed back in tomorrow, so we should have those folks back in and back up and running. The big thing that we're going to see is the PIV card process completely stopped. So on the claim side, any of our new staff were not allowed to go get a PIV card, and that also prevented them from getting other further training that they needed that are on the VA systems. We expect this to have a little bit of a lingering impact because there's going to be a backlog they've got to clear, and we expect that VA will prioritize their staff as we would too first before they get to ours. So that's going to be kind of one of those lingering effects. Our new staff on the claim side that didn't have a card, we could get them in, give them our training, and they could do over the shoulder. So there was still some effective training going on, and we'll move forward as soon as we can.
Charlie, one question on that.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the current time frame to get a PIV with the VA? I know for several years ago it was an issue. It took like 3 to 6 months. Is that still the case?
I'm going to ask Sal what the latest number is. Do you have a number?
Come on up.
Good morning. We've worked diligently with our VA partners and have minimized the time frame. It really depends on how quickly the actual new staff member can go through the process of the curriculum and the training. But once they pass that, it could be anywhere from essentially maybe once they take care of the training, we can get it in 2 weeks. It just depends, but average is about 3 months or so. Yeah.
It's about 3 months.
Yes, 3 months.
Okay. To do the training and then actually get the card.
Well, to do the training and then get the a PIV card in there. But of course, the VA has their own staff, so it just depends on a lot of factors. But we've minimized it from going from 8 months down to 3 months on average.
Okay, so that impacts us in the fact that we hire someone to have a claims position, but they actually couldn't do the job until they have a PIV.
Correct.
So for 3 months, they're doing training and.
Correct.
Okay.
So the process, you get accredited by the VA, but then they have to do the fingerprinting and everything and the background check. And then they issue you the PIF card. What the PIF card does, it gives you the access into the veteran's record, and you can actually do all kinds of background research and then come up with the best way to move forward with their claims. So that's essential. So now that we minimize that, it's, they can actually see everything that's in the record, and they can proceed in the best way, shape, or form, and increase the chance of that person getting granted.
It's really good to hear that was sped up.
Yes, definitely. We have to thank the relationship that we have with the VA, the directors, and all the way up. I mean, they're phenomenal. And Mr. Palladino and the leadership, of course, does.
Yeah, I know when the VA secretary came to visit here in Austin, Tom and I specifically mentioned that to him. So.
And it worked.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't give us credit for that, but I get it. Okay. Thank you, Sal.
Very much.
Thank you, Sal. And then the last thing I wanted to report on claims side is that during the shutdown, they did continue to process claims. We were able to file, they would process, and they were making decisions at a little bit lower rate, but they were continuing to do those.
Okay.
That did happen. Any other questions on claims before I move on to healthcare? Thank you. Okay. For healthcare, healthcare held their department in-person training in October. Normally, their training focuses on VA type policies, VHA procedures, those kind of things. This time, they took a little bit different focus, and they focused on their healthcare advocates and their skills, soft skills, how to deal with the difficult veteran, how to work within the system. And it was a little bit of a change, but very well received and very effective training. For HCAD on the shutdown side, for the most part, healthcare advisors in the VHA facilities, they were continued their normal in-office schedule. As a side, the VA patient advocates also did continue to work, but we did see an increase in foot traffic across the state coming into our offices while the shutdown was going on. So HCAD also has the same issues with the PIV card issue because they get a PIV card as well. The difference is that our HCAD folks are all pretty much single person offices. So they can see veterans, but they don't have PIV access. And there's at least one office that requires a PIV before they'll let you in the office. And there was no over shoulder for them. So that we're going to work hard to get that backlog cleared and get our folks up and running full speed. So I'm going to move on to mental health. No questions on healthcare? So for mental health, I am proud to introduce to you our newest Veterans Mental Health Director, Brenda Keller. Stand up. Brenda comes to us with 25 years of social work experience and 15 years of advanced clinical social work experience, including practice in child welfare, hospital emergency departments, community mental health centers, and inpatient psychiatric units. She has worked with military personnel and veterans. She is a licensed clinical social worker and supervisor with the state of Texas and Ohio. She has completed several deployments while on active duty as a member of the United States Air Force from 2011 to 2018, and she was recently promoted to Lieutenant Colonel. She is now in the Air Force Reserves assigned to JRB Fort Worth. She holds a master's degree in social work, or master's of social work from Eastern Washington, and a bachelor of social work from the University of North Texas. And we are very lucky to have her.
So excited.
Okay, moving on. Another hiring story that we got from the last session of the legislature. We have, they gave us 8 additional, making the department up to total of 18. We currently have hired such that we have 5 vacancies. The manager of veterans learning interviews are planned for later this month. The JIV program interviews are planned for mid-November. The rural and faith-based coordinators are currently interviewing. And then the other portion I wanted to talk to you about is the recent TVC summit, the Mind Matters Summit, that had very much a veteran suicide and mental health focus. That summit, just some big picture results from that. We had 124 individuals attend from across Texas and across the spectrum of mental health services. We had the local mental health authorities. We had veteran treatment court judges and their staff, nonprofits in the counseling and suicide prevention space, and we even had a service dog in training attend. Very good. Very initial feedback we got was very positive. We'll have more as we analyze the feedback that we get from our attendees, and then we have to do our own after action, and we'll report back to you at the next meeting on what we see and moving forward. So for the shutdown for VMHD, we didn't have really no impacts to our VMHD department to report there. Any questions on mental health?
No questions.
Okay.
Any questions?
And finally, last but not least, Vets Ed. The VERA presentations, which we just did one, thank you for that today. We have currently had 18 all awarded. The rest are scheduled to be awarded at TAC VPO, which will be held in Houston in March. The Hazelwood database is also a big project going on in veterans education. We are expecting that new database project to go live late November, early December. They're currently working in user acceptance training and then correcting all of the little glitches that they find as they go through that. Our training plan, we expect to send the contractor prepared user guides to all the schools. We're planning 2 virtual trainings a week for several weeks after go live before the holidays, and then we'll pick that up again after the holidays. We've got a program to proactively reach out to schools that don't sign up and attend training, so we'll go out and get them. And then we're working with our partners in COM on a communications plan so we can get that information out to the general public. Really excited to have the new Hazelwood database come online. It's optimized for web and it's also optimized for phones, so it's going to be real nice. So for veterans education, the fallout for shutdown for them, if you hadn't heard, the GI Bill hotline was shut down completely. That resulted in a significant uptick in calls to our education hotline. And they handled an awful lot of calls. While the VA systems remained open and available, so we could do our inspections, we could do our approvals and our withdrawals and all that, they could be uploaded. None of them were being processed. So we expect that there's going to be a significant backlog for VA education services to catch up with everything that's in their system waiting for them when they come back. And with that, pending your questions, that completes my report.
Commissioners, any other questions? Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next, I'll call up Chip Osborne, our Veteran Services Division Director.
Good morning, Chair Kerner, Commissioners, Mr. Palladino, Directors, and audience that are listening in. For the record, my name is Chip Osborne. I'm the Division Director for Veteran Services. I would like to give a brief little overview of how we're doing on the hiring Red, White, and U. At the end of today, November the 13th, we will have completed 28 out of the 31 events. So we're sitting at 90% completion. I really want to thank the commissioners as well as various staff departments that have participated in these events. So today, Katie is unfortunately not here, but she's at one of the events that's going on. There are actually today, there are 7 of those events that are happening across the state of Texas today. We will only have 3 more events left, 2 on the 18th, located in Mission, and the other one will be Wichita Falls. And then the last event is going to be held on the 20th in Abilene, Texas. And then that will conclude our Red, White, and U events. Crystal was not, Dr. Matthews was not able to make it today because the women's program are actually doing an event in Louisville. They titled it the Women's Veteran Resource Fair. It's being held at the VFW Post 9168. I want to thank them for hosting that event for us. So that concludes on my department. Now I'd like to roll into the performance measures. The last time I get to report on this, hallelujah, it will now go to Sean DeBay as our executive director. So for FY25, our performance measures, please refer to the document that has 3 pages labeled Actual Performance for Outcome Measures. Okay? Want to make sure y'all have that document. The first set of performance measures is basically there are 10 outcome measures, which are all reported only once a year at the end of the fiscal year. 9 out of 10 of those performance measures exceeded their yearly targeted goals. So that was kudos to them. The Veteran Entrepreneur Department worked with the finance and the education department to secure additional resource of 1 FTE to support their operations in order to help them as they roll into 2026 where they can achieve their goal. You heard from the auditor. I was very thankful for Kim highlighting the volume of their workload is tremendous. Also, if you noticed on our outcome measures, that the number sequence is all jacked up. During the next strategic plan, that will be our opportunity to actually submit and change the number sequence to make sure they're in actual order 1 through 10, okay? Any questions on the outcome measures? Okay, hearing no questions, let's turn to our output and efficiency performance measures. That document is basically 19 pages and it is labeled Actual Performance for Output / Efficiency Measures. First, the agency was very successful on eliminating one measure for the claims department, which is on page 3 of 19. So that measure no longer exists as we roll into 26. In addition to that, on page 5 of 19, our Veteran Employment Services, that will come out of the output and be over into the outcome performance measure. And I will show you a document at the end of this briefing about that. And then lastly, on page 18 and 19, both efficiency measures have been deleted for eternity from TVC. So we no longer have those. Overall, the performance of the output measures met or exceeded their targeted goals for FY25. Subject to your questions on outcome, on output or outcome measures. Any questions? Okay.
And Chip, remind us. So we want more outcome measures and less output measures.
Right. We needed a balance. Yes, ma'am. Prior, we did not have a balance. It was all basically output in the 2 efficiencies. We had very little outcome measures. Matter of fact, we only had like 2. Now we have 10, and I'm very happy. So the last document I have for you is titled New Performance Measures for FY26-27. This document, this front and back document actually comes from the General Appropriation Act that just got passed by our state legislators. I highlighted in yellow for you to where that was stand out. There you see under Goal A, it says new, and that is the percent of veterans that receive individualized career services. That is the same measure that was originally in outputs. We now have moved it over to outcome. And then finally, for our mental health program, we were very successful in not only getting it in our strategic plan as a strategy, but now we have a performance measure that we can actually report on. There it is, A18, and the LAR is referred to as 118, but that is our performance measure there. As you compare, you notice the targets for 26 and 27. All of the programs have those. They've been working on those because those performance measures will need to be turned in going into the month of December. We will get those in, but those are the new targets. I would tell you that if you looked at the prior reports, you'll notice that there was a couple of departments that did not hit their target. However, they were successful in going and lowering their target for FY26 and 27. Good example is Housing for Texas Heroes. Basically, that number of 500, it was overinflated. So we went back, changed it. It will now read 250 as we roll into 26 and 27, which will give us a very closer target, and we will achieve success. Subject to your questions.
When you go in and request those lowering, you have to give explanations of why.
Yes, ma'am. We do that during the strategic plan process. They have a source document that's separate. It's an Excel document. We put down all the performance measures. Not only do we give them values, but we also go in and edit. We make sure that the measure has a good sound methodology that anybody can follow, okay? So anybody should be able to pick up that document and know exactly how that performance measure is actually calculated, what it means, what's the interpretation behind it, why are we doing it? So we have an opportunity to tweak language and also, revise our target numbers as well.
So when you have a performance measure that we don't meet, such as the entrepreneur program, that outcome we were talking about earlier, really you have two options here. You have one, find a way to meet it because that is a good goal and we should get there. Like maybe we need to hire more people in that program, right? Or make it more efficient. Or adjust the target to something more appropriate.
Correct.
And then as staff, you evaluate both options and determine which one is the right solution.
Yes, ma'am. We go to Mr. Palladino, our executive director. We review it with him and we get his approval. And then we have to submit it and go through the formal process with the LBB, as well as the governor's office looks at this document before it actually gets submitted over for the legislators to finally approve.
And then that comes through us when we submit our LARs and we approve.
Correct. Yes, ma'am. Once you do the strategic plan, once that's blessed, we roll it right over into our LAR, making sure it matches. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
Appreciate
ma'am. Thank you. Have a great day.
that. Congratulations on passing that on to Sean. Okay. So next item is Sean, our Deputy Executive Director.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, Mr. Palladino, and guests. For the record, my name is Sean DeBay, the Deputy Executive Director for the Texas Veterans Commission. And I want to say officially that I'm so excited that Chip passed this over to me, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity. So we're going to start off with, I just have a few updates to make about our outreach activities. It's been incredibly busy, especially over the last few weeks. And then once I do that, I'll be followed by Michelle Nall, our Chief Financial Officer, and then Tina Whitus, HR Director, for some more information. I, too, have a new director to announce for the communications and outreach. Bad news is Angela Wallner moved away to Ryland. The good news is we have her mentor, which is Margaret Hessian, who comes to us with 6 years experience with the Workforce Commission as the director for their communications and outreach. So welcome, Margaret Hessian. No pressure at all. So just a couple of items I want to update. One is website engagements. Now, at the next commission meeting, I plan to, since I am taking over performance measures, to talk about how this quarter and the same quarter last year, how much we've increased. But I do want to give some statistics. So website engagements, just for September, we had 95,815 engagements. October is over 100,000 with 100,861. Our Facebook impressions had 1.1 million Facebook impressions. As far as Google, we had 683,000 individual impressions on Google. We'll have a better comparison next time when we have the full quarter, but we're off to just an amazing start with outreach. The Fund for Veterans Assistance Grants presentations. First, I want to thank everybody involved with it, our comms, our FVA team, for what an amazing job. The commissioners, Mr. Palladino, all of you for participating. We did receive some wonderful media coverage from this. We had 160 total media mentions across the state. And if you look at it in terms of earned media, it was over $2 million of earned media just from those 160 mentions. I did ask the team to get me a list. We're doing a lot of interviews. So I said, can you please get me a list of all the interviews? There's so many, there's no way I'm going to go through and list all of them. But we had 20 interviews from September 1st till yesterday. The most recent being yesterday with our government relations director, James Crabtree, talking to Fox 7 News here in Austin over veterans programs. That was just yesterday. So they continue to mount up. But 20 is pretty high number for just a few weeks. And lastly, every year, I'm sure you're aware, they do a military appreciation game at the University of Texas. This was November 1st, Texas versus Vanderbilt. Chairwoman and I had the pleasure and honor of representing the Veterans Commission for that big check presentation on the field near in the first quarter. It was a check for $279 million. We were also joined by Courtney Arbor, the executive director for TDLR. So that was the exchange from TDLR over to the Texas Veterans Commission. And the UT, TDLR, and our staff did a great job making it a worthwhile event. Had such a wonderful time. So that was awesome. So subject to your questions, I'd like to turn it over to Michelle.
Well, I just do want to highlight that was our first formal event with TDLR as they've taken over the lottery and with that lottery ticket coming to us. So it was really great to have that interaction with TDLR. I know you guys had already reached out and had meetings with them, but good to start that partnership.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, let's pass it over to Michelle.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chairwoman Corner, fellow commissioners, Mr. Palladino. For the record, my name is Michelle Nall, the Chief Financial Officer for TVC. If you take a look at the document in front of you, it's the fiscal year 2025 operating budget for TVC, fourth quarter ending August 31st. We spent and obligated just over $43 million in expenditures for the whole year. Of that was funded by $43 million. Also, just under 23 million of that was in general revenue, and I would be glad to say that we did not lapse any funds this year in general revenue. We've spent and obligated all those funds. Yes. You will see there's just 6.8 million in the Fund for Veteran Assistance, Fund 368. We realigned how we're going to obligate those grants this next year. We're doing it on the state fiscal cycle. So this last year for 25, we just have the 2 months, the July and August. And then the remaining funds I've moved into 26, and then we'll obligate those funds for the next 12 months. So then we'll start next fiscal year, 2027, on the state's fiscal cycle for the grant awards as well.
Is that because we also align the grants to the fiscal cycle?
The grant cycle. So the funding in the grant cycle will be on the state fiscal year. 137 unappropriated receipts, which is the transfer from the VFW, just a little over 10,000 for the license plates revenues, and then a little over 13 million in federal funds. So again, 43 million in expenditures for the state fiscal year, no lapse funds. Therefore, if you have any questions, I'll move on to the next document. No questions?
Any questions? Okay.
The next document is the 2026 estimated Fund for Veterans Assistance revenue. Our annual lottery revenues, I'm projecting that more around 26 million, only because this last quarter, our lottery revenues went below the 2 million. All year it had been strong, but June, July, and August, it was more around 1.8. So I wanted to just kind of realign it just to be safe. Okay. So I'm projecting more than a little over 26 million. 3.4 in the unclaimed prizes. I don't know why people aren't claiming their prizes, but they're not. And then a little over 5 million in other revenues, the DMV donations, Texas Park and Wildlife. Interest is really strong right now. That's based on the interest rate. Then we have UB'd 3.5 million, the 3 million of the contingency, and there was a little over 500,000 that was not obligated last year. And then the D obligations to the 24 grant year was just approximately 6.4 million. So we moved those forward into 26. And then we have just over 4 million in general revenue that can go towards the grants for next grant cycle. So we're projecting an estimate of a little over 48 million. Then you reduce 4 million in expenditures, which are, indirect, operating, salaries, the flux system, and then the 3 million contingency set aside. So after reducing the expenditures, right now there's a projection of just under 42 million for the next year's grant cycle. That concludes my brief, pending any questions.
Any questions? Yes, Commissioner Wright.
Just for my own edification, if we're looking at potentially 42 million next year, at this point a year ago, what were we looking at? If you don't remember, it's not that important. I'm just trying to see if we're tracking.
I know we stay within like the 40 million. I do know we did not go under 40 million.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. One comment.
I have to commend you, Michelle. You managed the budget extremely well and the money extremely well. And the results speak louder than words. We lapse zero funds. Every department director meets with Michelle's team on a monthly basis, and they do real forecasting. And your experience and your expertise shines through. And so I really appreciate the leadership that you give.
Thank you. I have a great team, so I couldn't do it by myself. Thank you.
Thank you. And Chip, I believe Tina's coming up next for the human resources. Nope. Yes, she is. That's what I just said.
I work for Sean now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know, ma'am. I miss him.
I'm gonna get screwed up here.
It's okay. I'm still adjusting as well.
Okay.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners, and Mr. Palladino. My name is Tina Whitus, and I serve as the Director of Human Resources and Event Management. Today, I'm pleased to share with you the HR dashboard for fiscal year 2025. The dashboard provides transparency to both the agency and our employees while also helping us identify trends that show whether we're moving in the right direction. At the top there, you'll see the gender demographics. As you'll see, the dashboard highlights gender demographics across the agency, within leadership roles, and among our larger departments. I'm proud to share that our agency continues to perform well in these areas. And I wanted to point out that in those leadership roles, that includes supervisors, managers, and directors. So we maintain a very healthy balance here in our agency. Additionally, I'm pleased to note that the average salary difference between male and female employees is just over $1,000 annually. This small gap is largely attributed to having a slightly larger number of male employees overall. Very proud of that. Racial demographics, our agency's racial demographics remain consistent. While our recruiting efforts are not specifically targeted toward increasing diversity, it's encouraging to see that our workforce naturally reflects an inclusive and representative culture. Next, we're going to look over at those FTEs and our hiring efficiency here at TVC. The dashboard shows our FTE counts by the quarter. Our agency continues to work diligently to keep approved positions filled. The average time from job posting to hire is 45 days, just 4 days above the national benchmark of 41. So that's according to SHRM. So by comparison, some state agencies average about 90 days or more. We're performing quite well in this category. Currently, we have 478.5 FTEs authorized. In our books right now, assigned, we have 459 employees. So that's a vacancy of about 19 positions. I will tell you that 16 of those are currently posted. 8 of those are going to be hired on November 17th, and 3 of them will be hired on December 1st. So we do really well to keep those positions filled as quickly as possible. I'm especially proud to report that our turnover rate has dropped to 15.83%. That's down significantly from last year, which was 19.3%. Most separations were voluntary, and the primary reason cited was higher pay opportunities elsewhere. Once the SAO annual report is released next quarter, we'll have a clearer picture of how we did as an agency in comparison to the other state agencies. But just with this early trend, I feel that's very positive. It's going to be very positive.
I'm sorry, question. Was this before the statewide increase in salaries? Or is this following that?
This is just overall throughout the year.
Okay.
The statewide increase. Are you talking about our
legislative session that increased everyone's state?
Oh yes, it did. September 1st of 2024 was when that legislative increase occurred, and so yes, we did see a significant drop.
Okay,
and that might have contributed significantly to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. The the bottom there, the bottom left-hand corner, that's the annual compensation report. This report details the number and the type of salary increases provided throughout the year. We ended the year with about 440 employees and provided over 739 compensation increases for the year. That number indicates, obviously, that many individuals not only received one salary action, but also actually received 2 salary actions. The 2 totaling an annual impact of $1,131,709 for FY25. A major contributor to this total was the equity adjustments that we provided to our agency. We conducted a thorough salary analysis across all classifications and compared them to state averages and brought our pay levels in line accordingly. And so TVC continues to excel in recognizing and rewarding employee performance through promotions, salary adjustments, and merit increases. The employee salary ranges. The employee annual salary report shows that our largest salary bracket has shifted, again, upward. Very happy about this. Last year, most of our employees earned between $40,000 to $49,000 a year. This year, the largest group earns between $50,000 and $60,000. After receiving the 5% legislative increase at the start of fiscal year 25, our agency's average salary was $59,387, but now it is $64,374. That's an increase of nearly $5,000, thanks to the equity adjustments that were provided to our staff. Looking at the data by salary range, most of our employees now earn around $55,000 a year. That concludes my presentation on the HR dashboard for fiscal year 25, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any at this time.
Thank you, Tina. Any questions?
I'm just curious if the return to office impacted the turnover rate at all.
It's really too soon to know that, ma'am. We just recently authorized our employees to return to the work from home piece. So that was September, October timeframe when that decision was made. So that may impact our turnover for fiscal year 26. May reduce those numbers even more this year. So be excited to see how that impacts it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Is that it?
Okay. Any other items, Sean? Okay. Next agenda item is the Executive Director, Tom Palladino.
Thank you, Chairwoman Kerner, Commissioners, all of TVC staff, and all our visitors and everybody watching. I want to thank you all for your service this Veterans Day, which was yesterday, obviously, and all of our veterans out there that are watching. Thank you for your dedicated service and all you do for our local communities in state and in country. The glad report, as each of the division directors and some of the program directors have reported, that things are going very well. We have moved forward implementing everything that the results of the legislative session out of this past year, whether it's policy or it's new positions. So we're posting those, hiring those. We've the legislative session was gave us additional resources to provide service to our veterans, especially in the rural areas. We now are expanding the mental health program for veterans and working with all the entities across the state in order to ensure that all veterans have access to proper mental health services. So we're very proud of that. And then that's just doing very well, and expanding its outreach across the state. In addition to that, we, like Charlie said, we have more claims officers for the or personnel, which is trying to reach veterans into the rural areas, and that's one of our goals, is to provide services into those rural areas where they may not have as many services as in the urban areas, and working with all our partners, whether it's state agencies, the communities, the local communities, the local mental health authorities, the commission, the county veteran service officers, or nonprofits in especially cities. So we do a lot of that collaboration, networking. We use the Texas Veterans Network from Combined Arms. We use all our other partners, and to make awareness is the biggest issue that I think we have in the state, is to ensure that veterans and their families and military service members who are transitioning are aware of the services to meet their needs. And so we are a link into all of our military bases here in Texas, and working with those transitioning service members to try to get them to those resources. So our number one priority is customer service to our customers, which is our veterans, family members, and survivors. And we do that while taking care of our own employees, which is over 80% veterans. And so I commend all of the leadership here for providing good leadership in management of our resources and leading our people and managing resources. And I think it's very important. Tina's done a fantastic job as the HR director, ensuring that the needs of our employees are met. Our turnover rate is down. We're filling most of the slots. We take care of our people as much as we can. Michelle, with the legislature, provided some additional funding. Michelle also analyzed all of our funding across all the programs, so we could adjust it. I have that authority to adjust a certain amount. And we raised our average salaries up, which increased retention, obviously. And I think that's very important for our employees, so that they have a very a positive outlook on their standard of living and able to meet their needs as employees. We also push a positive work environment, which I think has proven results in the HR world. So thank you for that. We're continuing hiring good people, training them, and then mentoring and supervising, and provide those services to our veterans, which we now can do remotely and in the office. And so, in accordance with state law, which has us implement a telework plan, we have done that. We have implemented a telework plan. So case by case, I have authorized, some individuals based on space and efficiency to work remotely or to do a telework. But the majority of the agency is working in the offices, and all our offices are open every day, which is very important, so that we meet the needs of our veterans where they are. So I want to thank everybody out there for working hard, whether it's in the employment area and all these job fairs and all the grant presentations and all the interviews, and our outreach across the state is just increased tenfold. And so I think we've done a great job in pushing it. But you can't rest on our laurels, right? There's still many, many people that when you meet them, they're like, oh, we didn't know you existed. So we got to keep up that great work to get the word out, not just about us, but our partners as well. So that's all I have to say to report today, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions, commissioners? Okay. Next, we're going to move on to the considerations for action. Our first item under consideration is our FY26 internal audit plan. And I will call back up Kim Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kim Gonzalez here again to present to you the internal audit plan for fiscal year 2026. The state agencies are required to go through a risk assessment process on an annual basis. We have performed that risk assessment, And the product of that risk assessment is this internal audit plan for your consideration for approval, which outlines our functions to be performed for fiscal year 2026. Our methodology that we go through to perform the risk assessment is documented here in this report on page 2. We do review a number of documents to update our understanding of what occurred during fiscal year 2025 to update our understanding for fiscal year 2026. As part of that methodology, we do use questionnaires that are completed by a number of staff and also by you, Madam Chair, to receive feedback for our completion of the risk assessment. And thank you for completing that risk assessment. I want to tell you that we have great responses. Responsiveness is timely. We are not restricted in any form or fashion, and that goes for the audit as well. I didn't mention that, but happy to report that as well. The agency is pretty transparent. The results of that risk assessment is shown on the risk assessment summary on page 6. It is tiny, so I'm hoping that you can read it, but there are 21 titled potential audit topics that we evaluate for risk, and 2 of them fell in the high risk area, 6 of them in the moderate, and the remaining in the low risk. So 21 audit areas is a significant number of potential audit topics to be audited. And the 2 areas that we are recommending for audit is the highest risk area there, which is records management. And then we are also recommending for audit item number 5, area number 5, complaint intake and processing. Those are the 2 areas we're recommending for audit. But in addition to that, we will also follow up on fiscal year 2025 recommendations from the audits that we performed. We will also prepare the fiscal year 2026 internal audit annual report and any other tasks that we may be assigned by this body or the executive director. But in addition to that, I'd like to look for you to look at the last page of the report, which is the history of areas audited, because this shows a snapshot of the last 8 years for each potential audit topic and when they've been reviewed or audited. And the legend at the bottom of the page will indicate who's reviewed them or who's audited them. But most importantly, I did want to highlight items number 4, 5, 14, and 20, because those areas have never had an audit or a review within the last 8 years. One of them is the communications and outreach, the next, the complaint intake and processing, item number 14, records management, and number 20, veterans mental health program. Now, I know veterans mental health program did raise to the second highest risk, but because of the expansion of the program and that the team is going through updating various processes, we didn't feel like 2026 was the best time to audit that area. But maybe the 27 when they have all processes in place where it would be more beneficial to the agency when we review it and have more meaningful recommendations for them if there were any to result from an audit. But with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions on the fiscal year 2026 audit plan.
Thank you very much. One item, just administrative item for the commissioners. You'll see in your box, in your folders, that there is a cover page for every consideration item and as well as the materials. That cover page is created by staff to kind of help you give an overview of everything that went into this consideration, including legal review and budgetary review. And that gives a good highlight. And then the materials are separate from that. So just wanted to share that with you. Any questions of the presenter? Commissioner? Okay. Thank you so much. So commissioners, do I hear a motion to approve the FY26 internal audit plan?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I heard Commissioner Dale, but I also heard Commissioner Hernandez. Good to hear that your microphone is working. So I have a motion from Commissioner Barber, a second from Commissioner Dale. Any discussion on the audit plan? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And those opposed say nay. Motion is approved.
Thank you. Looking forward to working with you again.
Next agenda item is 6B, which is action regarding the staff recommendations to appoint the new Fund for Veteran Assistance Advisory Committee members. And I'll ask Sean DeBay, our Deputy Executive Director, to give this report.
Good morning again, Chairwoman, Commissioners, Mr. Palladino, and guests. For the record, my name is Sean DeBay, the Deputy Executive Director for the Texas Veterans Commission. Before I get started, due to the generosity of Chip giving me the performance measures, this will be my last report on the advisory committee, as Chip will be taking over that to include operations and evaluation. So congratulations, Chip. So in your folders, you should have the recommended applications for those who we are recommending, the consideration page that Chairwoman was just talking about, and then also the current membership to give you an idea of what the current membership looks like. So I'd like to focus the attention on the consideration page. We put bottom line up front. What is the recommendation? So we had 4 vacancies to fill due to resignations. We have Daryl, I hope I get these names correct, Daryl Dement replacing Mike Griffin, Jeff Mincy replacing John Perez, Sylvia Hernandez replacing Jim Brennan, and Jason Abshire replacing Pete Rispoli. If this is approved by the commission, it'll take effect January 1st, 2026. You'll also see in that recommendation that they will be taking over the ending term for the person that they're replacing, allowing them the ability, if the commission approves, to be approved for another 4-year term. So they get their full term plus. Further on in the document, there's just a simple introduction and background. After that, you get to see the justification statement. They were interviewed. All of these people were interviewed, and there's a justification statement as to why they selected these 4 individuals. So there's that for your reading. And then it's a couple items and then the legal analysis at the end, just to go that we have the legal piece. So subject to your questions, that is our recommendation for those 4 replacements.
Thank you, Sean. Any questions?
Just a quick question. I'm looking at, I think you do have on here where areas are coming from. Do you feel there's a good representation of the state with these recommendations to cover?
Yes, they take it a lot into consideration. That's why we put the area of location. We wanted a good geographic distribution across the state as best we could based on the applications that we received.
Okay. So who do we currently have, like for the Central Texas area that's on the commission right now, or that's on the advisory committee?
I will need to go to that page of the current membership.
There's a current membership roster in your folder.
Where did I go?
Oh, but it doesn't say where they're from.
Yeah, it doesn't give the list of Central.
We can follow up with you on that one and send that over.
I can also bring up somebody that can be a better answer that question if you would like.
If there's someone who has the answer.
Do you have, or Irv, do you have the answer?
Okay, thank you, Irv.
Madam Chair, Mr. Palladino, Commissioners, for the record, my name is Irv Leos Jr., the Director for Funds for Veteran Assistance. Commissioner Dale, we have 2 committee members for the Central Region. We have Richard Delgado from San Antonio and Dusty Johnson here in the Austin area.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And I think for the future, I think I will make sure we add that to the membership page. So, or I'll ask Chip if he wouldn't mind adding that to the membership page for re-edification.
Good job tasking him. Any other questions? Okay, Commissioner Wright.
And as a point of clarification, how many terms can a committee member serve?
1 4-year term, complete 4-year term. If they're replacing somebody and it's not a complete 4-year term, they're eligible for another 4-year term. But they have a 4-year term to complete.
So we're limiting them now to a 4-year term instead of 8, which was the previous.
It's right. According to our rules, it's 4 years.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And I have one question. Oh, okay. Yes, you can continue.
Real fast, back to the membership page. Would you do me a favor if you're going to do that? for those of us that are sometimes geographically challenged, what region of the state, based on our 8 regions that they're in, just to make it a little easier so I don't have to look it up.
Absolutely.
It's embarrassing how little I know about our counties and cities.
We can certainly do that.
Any other questions? I have one question. So I noticed that one of the members that we are replacing is the current chair.
Correct.
So in the meantime, the vice chair will be taking over. With this, I know the chair gets appointed by us. Will that be on the next agenda for next
Yes,
meeting?
the next commission meeting. So right now, the vice chair, you're correct, will take over the running of this next, if they have a meeting prior. But yes, the next commission meeting, there'll be a recommendation to replace the chair. And this would have been Mr. Rispoli's last year anyway as the chair. So we would have been looking at that very soon. So the next commission meeting.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Any other questions? Do I hear a motion to accept the staff recommendations to appoint new Fund for Veteran Assistance Advisory Committee members as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I heard Commissioner Hernandez. Thank you. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, say nay. And the motion passes. Thank you. Next agenda item is agenda item 6C, which is consideration and action regarding the Central Texas Council of Governments Vet Ride Grant Year 24-25 Grant Amendment Request. And this is to extend the grant performance period for an additional 8 months. I'll ask Irv Leos, our Director for Fund for Veteran Assistance, to come back up and to give this report.
Again, good morning again, Madam Chair, Commissioners, Mr. Palladino, and guests. My name, for the record, is Irv Leos Jr., Funds for Veteran Assistance Director. The item I will be presenting is for Central Texas Council of Governments Vet Ride that was awarded a general assistance grant for $300,000 to provide transportation assistance services serving 135 clients in the grant year 24 to 2025. The grantee is requesting an extension to the current grant period. The information provided for you for your review is in the SharePoint folder labeled C, Central Texas Council of Governments Vet Ride GY 24-25 Amendment. This folder contains 3 documents: the amendment request from Central Texas Council of Governments Vet Ride, the summary that I'll be using for this presentation, and the 24-25 RFA. The grantee was in the renewal portal for the 25-26 grant period, but the performance was at 39% and expenditures at 8%. Thus, the grantee was not renewed for the 25-26 grant year. The grantee was allowed to submit an amendment request 4 months after the amendment deadline to extend the grant period for 6 months and increase the total number to serve to 170. The amendment was approved by the Executive Director with the new ending grant period of December 31st, 2025. Central Texas Council of Governments Vet Ride is now requesting an additional 8 months to the grant period to end the grant on August 31st, 2026. The 24-25 RFA only allows for 6 months extensions. Thus, the request is before the Commission. As of September 30th, Central Texas Council of Governments Vet Ride has utilized 26% of their budget and served 154 out of the 170 projected, equaling 90.5%. FVA recommends to not approve the amendment request by Central Texas Council of Governments Vet Ride for an additional 8 months for the 24-25 grant period. Pending any questions, that concludes my presentation of Central Texas Council of Governments amendment request.
Thank you, Irv. And Commissioners, any questions of Irv? We will then hear one public comment before we deliberate. Any questions of Irv?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Irv. I would like to call up for public comment Urian Nelson. He signed up to speak on this item. And just remember, we ask you to speak within 5 minutes, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
yes,
you.
Ma'am. Good morning, Chair, Commissioners, Executive Director, and all the staff. First, I'm Urian Nelson with the Central Texas Council of Governments, and we appreciate everything that the Commission has done and all the funding that you've provided to our region to assist veterans with this program. We do understand that we don't fall within the category for the staff to support our request to extend this grant. What I'm here today is to ask for additional consideration, as if this grant were to end December 31st, we do plan to apply to fund this program or apply for funding the next cycle. The program would end, and then we would have to restart the program from scratch again, which would create some concerns in our region, we believe, for stability of the program in the future. We do have a lot of folks that depend on this, and I'm really here. We submitted our letter. I don't want to rehash that, but I'm happy to answer any questions and ask for additional consideration. We are not asking for additional funds at this time.
Okay. Thank you for your presentation. Any questions of the presenter? You do? Okay.
Sir, I'd like to ask, because it seems, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you're not hitting the numbers that you need to hit to go from below average to below performance to above performance. And I'm wondering, what do you see that is going to be different with this extension?
So you're correct. When we first started this program, we asked for the maximum amount that we could apply for. Since that time, and much to our detriment, our transit provider cut our fare cost in half to participate in this program. So that in itself has led to the additional funds that we currently still have available. We're just unable to spend everything because our fares are half of what they were projected to be when we applied for the grant, and not knowing how many participants we would have. In addition to that, not to throw out a lot of bad news into the environment, but our transit provider split. So now with this, we're going to have to split internally. So 3 of our counties now are no longer part of that. So now we have to negotiate additional contracts to get additional services out to those 3 counties. So there's been some complexity. And yes, we did not meet our performance measures in the beginning, specifically because it was really a mess of trying to figure out how we were going to get a contract with our transit provider who was going through all of this. The funding, it's a double-edged sword. We were given a huge discount for services by one of our transit providers, and that's led to us having additional funding left over.
And just so you know, I'm more concerned about numbers of veterans that you serve, and that's if you underspend, generally speaking, that's a good thing for us. We can always find some place to push the money. I'm concerned that if we don't want to leave veterans hanging, but on the other side of the coin, you're not serving that many veterans. And I understand let me say it this way. I'm going to guess that you're serving several rural counties.
Correct.
And we have tried to be cognizant of that because it is difficult for those in rural counties to get to services. So we understand how important what you do is, but I think you can see where we're trying to balance this. And I'm kind of trying to find a justification for this. And I'm kind of hoping you'd throw something out at us.
I totally understand where the commission is at. I've been up here, I think, 3 times now over the course of this. So like I said, I appreciate any consideration. I think the numbers we do, we have a urban county, Bell County, and then we have the 5 or 6 rural counties. A majority of our services are provided to those in the urban county. The costs associated with providing services in rural county are much higher, so we use a lot of those funds. Like I said, that being said, if the commission doesn't approve this, we still intend to apply for funding the next cycle. But with that being said, we fear that there would be some real concern by participants that this would be a sustainable thing for them. We have a lot of veterans, and when we originally submitted the request for the extension, it was, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Irv or any of the staff, I think it was to take us through this August and to fund for 270. I could be wrong on that number. And I believe that we'll meet that metric, but like you said, is the juice worth the squeeze, basically, for the amount of veterans we're serving? And we totally understand that.
Thank you very much. Any other questions of the presenter? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
With your permission, commissioners, I'm going to ask if we can have our general counsel kind of review the legal analysis that was put in the consideration page.
Good morning, Kirsten Erickson, General Counsel, the TVC. So looking at the 2024-2025 RFA, there are certain provisions that are relevant here, and those are 3.1.2, 3.12.1. Any changes, additions, or deletions to the provisions contained in the NOGA or approved application must be executed through a grant amendment. Amendments may modify the approved budget categories, grant period, or scope of the grant project as described in the approved application. All amendments except increases to award amounts are reviewed by the executive director for approval. The next provision, 3.12.3, is relevant. Each amendment request will be considered on a case-by-case basis. A grantee may have no more than 3 amendments during a grant period and must be submitted no later than March 31, 2025. And the last provision is 3.12.4. Awarded grants can extend up to 6 months from the awarded grant period of June 30th. So in this case, this was the approved guidance. One second. This was the approved guidance of the commission, this RFA that was approved. And for the commission to approve this amendment, it will be going against its own guidance. For several reasons. The first being that all of the amendments should be submitted by March 31st, 2025. Unfortunately, VetRide submitted its first amendment request after that date. This is the second amendment request that was submitted, I don't have the date offhand, but later in the year. This also, the RFA only awards up to 6 months extension from June 30th. That's already been awarded by the commission. So to go past that again, you're going against your own advice that was approved in this 2024-25 RFA. So generally, this would turn a 12-month grant into a 24-month grant, which other grantees weren't allowed to do. So there's several implications here for approving this, and the recommendation is listed. Do you want Irv to read that, or would you like me to read that?
Since you're here, if you don't.
Sure.
Well, Irv, if you're up, why don't you make the recommendation from staff? But thank you for the legal counsel.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So FVA does not recommend approval of the amendment request for Central Texas Council of Government. The reasons, the 24-25 RFA states extensions are limited up to 6 months. An additional 8 months would make the 24-25 grant a 2-year plus grant, thus 26 months. The grantee has shown poor performance. While it's increased, it's still below the required 95% at 12 months. At the 90% has gotten them that are currently at, it took them 15 months. Approving the amendment conflicts with the approved 2024-2025 RFA, and policies open this door for current and future grantees to follow suit.
Thank you, Irv. Appreciate that. Any other questions of staff? Okay. So commissioners,
I have one question.
okay,
Just real
we
quick
have one
after
question.
And this is to legal, actually. So essentially, we're being asked to waive our own requirements in order to do this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Commissioner.
And are we even legally allowed to waive our own requirements?
Yes, the commission has done it in the past.
Okay.
It's not recommended.
Okay.
And I will remind you, we do waive them pretty much every May meeting when we renew, in the past, when we've renewed grants that didn't meet the performance metrics of our RFA.
I do remember that, and we got rid of the renewals.
That we got rid of the renewals because it did cause some concerns and issues. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Commissioners, do I hear a motion on this item? Okay. I'd like to propose a motion to table this item indefinitely. Is
So
there
moved.
a second?
So moved.
Okay, so a motion, and I'll second that. Any discussions? Okay. So tabling this item would essentially mean that we would not vote to approve, that we will be not discussing it any further. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? So motion passes as item is tabled. Okay. Moving on to agenda item 6D, which is action regarding the Hidalgo County Community Service Agency grant year 25-26 grant amendment request for an additional $150,000. And this, I'll ask Irvlios also to present this. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. This item I will be presenting is for Hidalgo County Community Service Agency grant providing financial assistance services with a $150,000 grant to serve 150 clients. The information provided for your review is in the SharePoint folder D, Hidalgo County Community Service Agency GY 25-26 Amendment. This folder contains 4 documents: the amendment request from Hidalgo County Community Service Agency, the compliance visit report, the summary that I will be using for this presentation, and the 25-26 RFA. Hidalgo County Community Service Agency is requesting an additional $150,000 to serve an additional 200 clients. As of September 30th, Hidalgo County Community Service Agency has utilized 77% of their budget and served 342 out of the 150 projected, equaling 225%. In communications with the Hidalgo County CSA via email on November 6th, they stated they have $820 remaining to provide financial assistance. This amendment is before the commission because it involves an increase to the grant award, which requires commission approval. FEA recommends that the commission make a motion to approve Hidalgo County Community Service Agency amendment request for an additional $150,000 in grant funding for the 25-26 grant period. Pending any question, that concludes my presentation for Hidalgo County Community Service Agency amendment request.
Thank you, Irv. May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so just so I get the where we're at, we did renew this grant for this year.
Yes, ma'am.
And they had originally requested $300,000 for renewal.
Yes, ma'am.
And we had granted them only $150,000.
That is correct.
And they have since performed and spent those dollars, and they're coming back to ask for the additional $150,000.
That is correct, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions, Commissioners of Irv? We do have one public comment that I'd like to also have come up. Okay, thank you, Irv.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll ask, is it Jaime or Jamie? Okay, Jaime Longoria, the Executive Director of the Hidalgo County Community Service Agency. Please come up.
Good morning, Chairwoman Karner and members of the commission. and Director Palladino. My name is Jaime Longoria. I'm the Executive Director of the Hidalgo County Community Service Agency. First of all, I'm here representing Judge Richard Cortez. He sends his regards to the commission. He's been right before this very commission and requested some funds previously. As you mentioned, we were the recipient of a $150,000 grant. We're extremely grateful for having received those monies. As of this morning, Mr. Leos, I'm proud to announce that we're completely out of funds. Denise Ramirez, our veterans worker, informed me of that this morning to let me know that we've met our objective and we've actually surpassed our objective in serving veterans. We are requesting an additional $150,000. And rather than really go over numbers with you, I wanted to share a quick story with you. So our agency is a community action agency. We do our work based on relationships, and we build relationships with other organizations as well as the people that we serve. And as I got ready to come up here, Denise and Alejandra, our two workers, shared a story of a 78-year-old gentleman. I'll call him Miguel for today's purposes. He's a Vietnam veteran. He's 78 years old. He's a former Army medic. For the last 7 years, we've tried to build a relationship with this gentleman, and he would apply for our services, for our Bravo Zulu services. Bravo Zulu, of course, you know, is a nautical term for job well done. You know, this isn't a handout. This is really a way of saying thank you to the veterans in Hidalgo County for the service that they've rendered to their country and to our community. So our relationship with Miguel has been really via email, where he would send us his documents, apply for services, and we were able to pay his utility bills that he had outstanding. Utility bills may seem like something very minor and something that most people do on a monthly basis without even thinking about it. But for Miguel, it's about building a relationship. We realized that Miguel was suffering from a pretty extreme form of PTSD. He lived alone, never made any attempt to leave, wouldn't leave his home for hardly anything at all, much less go out to clinics and get any kinds of services. And I'm proud to announce that this year was a breakthrough year for Miguel, because over the last 5 months, he would bring us his utility bill, okay, for us to pay off of that $600 balance that we kind of allocate for each veteran. So he started to come out and bring his utility bill. The first time he came out into our office, Denise says to me, he spent his time in our office crying and praying. He was so nervous. His PTSD was consuming him. Over the last 6 months, I'm proud to say that little by little, what we've done is we've referred him out. We're not the mental health experts. We recognize that we've got a whole network of veteran serving organizations that support the work that we do, and we refer them out. So we've got Miguel out to the services that he needs. And I'm proud to report that the last visit with Miguel, he comes into our office, provides little tokens for our staff in saying thank you, has conversations with our staff, and now checks in by phone on a monthly basis with staff, just to kind of tell us how he's doing. It seems like the switch has been turned on, and his life is finally being turned on. He spent a lot of time at one point telling us about the horrors of war in Vietnam and the work that he did as an Army medic. But it seems he's turned a corner. That's what these $600 mean to veterans in Hidalgo County, and I'm very grateful. So I'm here to ask for additional funding.
Okay. Thank you, Jaime, and I really appreciate you sharing that story. Any other questions of Jaime? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Commissioners, you have the consideration page in front of you. Do I hear a motion to approve the Hidalgo County Community Service Agency amendment request for an additional $150,000 in grant funding for the 25-26 grant period?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next agenda item is 6E, which is consideration and action regarding the addition of the University of Texas El Paso to the 25 Veteran Education Excellence Recognition Award VERA recipient list.
Good
And
morning.
David Salgado is here. Thank you.
Ma'am. Good morning, Chairwoman Kerner, Commissioners, Mr. Palladino again. For the record, my name is David Salgado, Director of Veterans Education. The University of Texas at El Paso applied and met all nomination requirements as listed in the application. The University of Texas at El Paso consideration of the Gold Award was not included as part of the previous commission meeting. I recommend to confer the Gold Level Veteran Education Excellence Recognition Award. I need to just start calling it VERA because that's a mouthful.
Yes.
To the University of Texas at El Paso. Barring any questions, that's all I have.
Any questions, commissioners? Do I hear a motion to approve the addition of University of Texas of El Paso to the 2025 VERA recipient list?
So moved.
Any seconds?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion is approved. Thank you. Okay. Next agenda item is 6F, which is action regarding proposed posting of the statutory 4-year rule review of Title 40, Texas Administrative Code, Part 15, Chapter 457, Protests of Agency Purchases, and 460, the Fund for Veteran Assistance Program. And Kirsten is here, and I believe we have several agenda items that are related to this, so we'll just go through them one by one. Thank you.
Perfect. Good morning, Kirsten Erickson, for the record. Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, Mr. Palladino. We'll start with, if you would go to the considerations folder, agenda item F. Okay, you can click on the first document in that folder and you will find the recommendation. So firstly, the administrative rules need to be reviewed every 4 years per Texas Government Code 2001.039. So there's 2 sets of rules that are up for review this year, Chapter 457 and then Chapter 460. So we'll start with 457. 457 was last formally reviewed on November 10th, 2014. The Commission recently amended TAC Section 457.1 on June 1st, 2023. However, in order to update the chapter review date on the TAC, you have to file a formal review of the rule. So the idea today would be for the Commission to review and approve filing a proposed rule review of Chapter 457. Within that review, the Commission evaluates whether this rule should be repealed, readopted, or readopted with amendments. The agency's review of the rule must include an assessment of whether the reasons for initially adopting the rule continue to exist. The Commission will accept comments for 30 days to the email address rulemaking@tvc.texas.gov. And then after that 30-day mark, the Commission could potentially file the adopted rule review with an analysis of Chapter 457. So that wouldn't happen until the public comment stage, and then it was brought before the Commission for approval. If you look on page 3 of this document, you can see what would be filed with the Texas Register. So I recommend that the Commission approve the publication of the proposed rule review for Chapter 457, Protests of Agency Purchases, in the Texas Register for a period of 30 days for public comment. And then if it were approved today, the TVC would not file this with the Texas Register until we hear back from the governor's office for their rule review. Are there any questions?
And that's 457. Why don't you go ahead and look at 460 while we're here, and then we could potentially do one motion.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. So 460, Chapter 460 also is up for review. The last time it was formally reviewed was in 2016, I believe. There's been several amendments to Chapter 460, but again, it has not been formally reviewed. So in order to update that chapter review date on the TAC, we need to do a formal review. Again, within that, the Commission will review whether it would want to readopt with amendment, or repeal these rules. So I recommend as well that the commission approve the publication of the proposed rule review for 40 TAC Part 15, Chapter 460 Fund for Veterans Assistance in the Texas Register for a period of 30 days for public comment.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the proposed posting of statutory 4-year rule review for Title 40 TAC Part 15, Chapter 457, Protests of Agency Purchases, and 460 Fund for Veteran Assistance Program?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to the next agenda item, which is regarding the proposal to repeal the protest section. Okay. So I'll turn this over back to you.
Thank you, Chair. So this next agenda item 6G is for the proposed repeal of 40 TAC Part 15, Section 457.1, which is protests. This is the only rule that we have under Chapter 457. The idea is that while we're reviewing the rules, we can also amend. So in this case, the proposal is to pull down or repeal the current rule that we have, and in the next agenda item, review proposed new rules. Okay. That's the strategy. So if you look in the folder, you can click on the first document. And that contains the recommendation and also why we'd want to do that. So one of the main reasons is that we want our protest rules, this is protest of contracts and solicitations, we want them to be realigned with the comptroller's rules. It's a statutory requirement to do that. And while we have this opportunity, I recommend that the commission does that now. Under Texas Government Code Section 2155.076A, it states, quote, the comptroller and each state agency by rule shall develop and adopt protest procedures for resolving vendor protests relating to purchasing issues. An agency's rules must be consistent with the comptroller rules. The rules must include standards for maintaining documentation about the purchasing process to be used in the event of a protest. End of quote. And for reference, the comptroller's protest rules are located at 34 TAC Part 1, Chapter 20, Sections 20.532 to 538. So in reviewing this rule, our current rule, if you go down, you can see the recommended changes. Basically, actually, we can go to another document. One second. If you go to the second document in that folder, you'll see our current rules. And so the one rule that we have currently, 457.1, basically has all separate sections in one rule. It has definitions. It has actions by the CFO. It has the appeal process. Currently, there is a way, there's a second appeal that goes to the commission. And so it's all compiled in one rule. If you go to the next document, we can look at the comptroller's rules. Oh, sorry, that's our proposed rules. The next document we can look at to see the recommendations. Thank you, there's so many documents. So in this document, it has the repealed language as well as the recommended language for the new proposed rules. And the comptroller, their rules, they separate the subparts, definitions, process, protests, protest procedures. And so we're realigning to follow that in our new proposed rules. Another highlight is that currently in our rules, it's pretty broad what is allowed to be to protest. In the new proposed rules, it would reduce the number of people who can file a protest. The comptroller allows, quote, vendors who submitted a written response. Our current rules state, quote, any actual or prospective bidder, offerer, or contractor who is aggrieved with a solicitation, evaluation, or award may file a formal protest. So this would also realign with the comptrollers, reduce who could actually file a protest, and it would be an advantage for the agency. And we're statutorily required to. Are there any questions about the proposed repeal?
I have one question. So in lieu of amending, which is an option, we're choosing to repeal because essentially we're rewriting it all.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're going to repeal the old wording, and then the next motion, the next agenda item would be the rewrite of it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is there a reason why we chose that method instead of amending?
Yeah, I've spoken to general counsels at other agencies. They say generally if there's about a 50% change to the rule, a strategy is to just pull it down and propose a new rule.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that background.
Yeah.
Any other questions? This agenda item is just to repeal the current wording. Any questions on the repeal? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the proposed repeal of Title 40, TAC Part 15, Section 457.1 protests?
So moved.
Okay, I heard a motion from Commissioner Dale and a second from Commissioner Wright. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And those opposed say nay. Motion is approved. Okay, so this next agenda is the new wording. Okay.
Yes, Chair. Thank you. So we can go to the considerations folder and now H, proposed new rules. And in that memo, you will find the new rules are attached that would be filed with the Texas Register, but also an explanation of what would be changed in the new rules. So we're pulling down 457.1, which has a lot of rules together. And in the new rules, we're separating them to 457.1 through 457.6. The sections, if you go to page 2, are listed there. We have purpose, definitions, protests, protest procedures, action by the CFO, and appeal. So some of the highlights are there's currently an appeal. Well, our current rules before the repeal, had 2 appeals. Had an appeal to the executive director and then to the commission. These new rules they limit the appeal with the executive director. The reason is that this is a contracting issue, and so it's really more operational and better suited just be internal with the agency. Sorry, I didn't mention that before. But if you look down, also we've added additional definitions. This clarified the protest procedures. And as I stated, we limited who can actually file a protest. And Michelle Nall's here too if you have any questions for her.
Thank you, Kirsten.
Yeah.
Any questions? Go ahead. Commissioner Barber.
Real quick, thank you. But so by taking it to the executive director level and not the commission, is that consistent with what you're saying is the controller's office for other state agencies?
That's a great question, Commissioner Barber. We can look at the comptroller rules right now. I don't know that specific. It's not the proposed rules are not, word for word as exactly, but
no, I understand.
But
we referenced quite a bit the fact that we want to be, that we want to file the controllers,
We can look right now. If you want to look, we can look at the third document in that folder. And
while
it's
we're
on page 10.
Looking that up, our agency is specific because in our statute that forms the Veterans Commission, I believe they do limit our responsibilities outside of operations and just to policy making. And so while other agencies may be allowed to do that, our commission by our statute is limited in what we do. So I think we want to make sure we're consistent with that statute as well.
Great point, Chair. If you look in the comptroller's rules, it's on page 10 of 10. It says here in section A, the scope of the appeal shall be limited to the review of the director's determination. So it's even less. They don't have that appeal.
Thank you. Any additional questions, Commissioner Barber? Any other questions? Commissioner Hernandez, any questions? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the proposed new rules for Title 40 TAC Title 40 TAC Part 15, Chapter 457, Protests of Agency Purchases? Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Next item is the proposed repeal of the Chapter 460 Fund for Veteran Assistance Program. And it sounds like we have the same approach here, where we're making enough changes that we want to repeal and then replace.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, let's talk about both at the same time, and then we'll take two separate motions, if everyone is okay with that. Okay.
Okay, so looking at agenda item 6I, this is the proposed repeal of the FVA rules, Chapter 460. I recommend that the Commission approve the publication of the proposed repeal for 40 TAC Part 15, Chapter 460, Fund for Veterans Assistance Program in the Texas Register for a period of 30 days for public comment. So as this is up for rule review, again, we're doing an analysis. How are these rules? What would we like to change? And the consensus when working with the FVA director and Chip Osborne is that we want to realign these rules. The recommendation is to realign them with the most current RFA. And we want to make them include statutory references and references to the GAA so that that never gets lost within the administrative rules for this agency. So if you look at the document, the first document in that folder, it has the consideration page. And Mr. Leos is also available if we have any questions for him, but just let me know if you do. So currently there's 5 subchapters to the rule, to these specific rules, and in the proposed new rules, we would take out subchapter E. Subchapter E is appeals. We're not removing appeals. We would be replacing them after the corrective action in C, and then the de-obligation of funds in D. So that's one of the big changes. As you scroll down the document, you can see the proposed repeal, but that's not very helpful. The next document, actually the second document is very helpful. This is a combination of the current rules with proposed repealed language and proposed new language. And it contains all 5 subchapters, A through E. Should we just go through them?
Yes, please. Okay. I think since FVA is kind of on top of our mind, let's go through each of these.
Perfect. So we're on the second document, starting on page 1, the purpose. The purpose will not change at all. Going on to 460.2, the definitions. Oh, goodness. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
My fault. Go to the third document in that folder.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I think we're already there.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
The purpose still has not changed. So we'll go on to 460.2. Some of the definitions are revised slightly, and there are new definitions. We've added the definition for corrective action plan. We've changed grant agreement to notice of grant award throughout, with the acronym of NOGA being used. Question cost is added. New language is added, and this comes from the Texas Management Grant Standards. The current definition, I'm not sure where it's, Irv could answer if we need those specific questions. We're adding the definition of request for application with an acronym of RFA throughout. And then we've clarified in the units of local government just to make the language consistent with Texas Government Code Section 391.002 to add the specific language as stated, authority district or other political subdivision of the state as defined in that section. Do you have any questions about the definitions?
No, but any questions, commissioners? I like that we're making consistent. So, and using terms that we use every day are in there. Okay. Appreciate
Exactly.
that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, the next section, 460.3, is applicant eligibility. The intent behind this was to Actually, is it okay if I call up Mr. Leos?
Yes, we can call it Mr. Leos to go through these. Yes, Commissioner Wright. Okay, so we're under I, proposed repeal of Title 40 TAC Part 15, Chapter 460, under considerations. And then we're on the third document where it says TAC 460 combined with changes.
No. Oh, yes, I only have two. But that's
You're
it.
so you're in J, go to I.
It's also the second one in J. It's in there twice. So.
Okay. It's the second one in J, it's the third one in I. Okay. Let me know when you have it up. And when you get to that document, we are currently on page 6. So not that document. That is the consideration page. Let me come over. One moment.
No, the third one.
So we should be at.
Are you okay?
It's okay. I'm just helping my Marine friend. Okay.
Would you like me to go back at all, Commissioner Wright or Chairwoman?
No, we are on page 6.
Okay.
Where it starts off where it says 460.3 applicant eligibility. Do you see that? Are you there? Okay, we're all good now. So, and Irv, you're going to go through the first change was at the bottom of that page, I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
First change is B. Any of the followings are not eligible to apply for grant funds. The first change is number 6. Organizations that do not have a current physical address in Texas, excluding a P.O. box. Discussion amongst the executives felt that organizations had to be located here in Texas. Some organizations are outside of Texas. We understand that they have ability to reach in Texas, but we felt that an organization having its physical presence in Texas was a better fit. Number 7, that's a new change. Again, it's in the current RFA for fiscal year 27. Nonprofits, organizations must be in existence less than 2 years are not eligible to apply. Again, I wanted to have a spectrum to see their history of performance.
Commissioner Wright, do you have a question?
Yes.
Okay.
Specifically to that, 2 years from. What is the date that we are using to measure that 2 years? Would it be the date of application, the date of the commission meeting, or the date of where we do the grant awarding, or the date that the grant would actually start?
So the date of application, Commissioner. So at the date of application, the organization's letter from the IRS, if you backtrack it, it must be older than 2 years.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And then additional language was removed from the rules because it's better suited for the RFA. So if you look at C, I believe that's why this was removed. This is still in the RFA, correct?
Yes, the language that was removed was more of a application process, so it is covered in the RFA.
Thanks, Irv. Okay, moving on, if there are no questions.
Any questions on that?
Could I do one more question on C? Determination of financial stability. Was that the issue that we had last time with 2 months worth of expenses?
That is, Commissioner, and that is in the current, the FY27 RFA.
That was my next question. Thank you, sir.
Okay, moving on then. We're at 460.4 application requirements. We basically updated grant application to RFA, just sort of simplified that language. Okay. The next section is 460.5 performance measures. The RFA discusses monthly performance reports, not periodic, so we just clarified that language for the public and also changed grant agreement to RFA. The next section, 460.6, agency access to records. This is better suited for subchapter B, and so this is actually just recommended to move to subchapter B, which is monitoring activities, instead of being in the general provisions section.
Okay, so it's just a cut and paste. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. The next section is 460.7, well, it would be 6 now, but determination of financial stability. We've just updated the language really and clarified for C, the section does not apply to units of local government, specifically as the definition is defined now. Or it was, but just clarifying in the rule.
So we just state that we determine what that financial stability requirement is in our RFA.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that gives us more flexibility year by year when we come up with our RFA to make that determination.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Moving on to 460.7, grant objectives. There were a lot of recommended changes to this section. The main reason was we wanted to include the statutory references. So we've included the statutory reference to the needs assessment, to the need for pro bono legal services being provided in the grant, the approved grants. We've also included the references to the GAA for the veterinary care and lodging, housing for Texas Heroes. We've included the statutory reference for the Veterans Treatment Court and included how long that has been operational, as well as the service dog program and the VCSOs. So the intent here was to include that information because it's really important for the agency for the public to know that long term and as the agency goes on. And additionally, if you look on the next page, these were the 10 service categories that are currently included, and we're recommending revisions to these and also just tucking them into the 5 approved program categories. Irv, do you want to make any comments about those?
The main purpose of this, ma'am, is that last page that General Counsel showed you was just a list of services, and we felt that if we could just better organize them and put them under each service or each grant program was a better alignment and better understanding by the public.
Commissioners, any questions on the changes to this section? Okay, thank you.
I guess we just want to highlight also that professional services network, number 7 that's on the next page, is removed because we don't do referral services anymore.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Now we're on 460.8 indirect costs, where we want to rename it from administrative costs to indirect costs. Irv can explain why.
Yes, ma'am. So going back to CFR 200 and the Texas Grant Management Standards, is the proper terminology is indirect cost. Administrative cost is part of indirect cost along with facilities. So we just provided a better definition to ensure the public and applicants understood this.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay.
Okay, moving on to 460.9, prohibited use of grant funds. We're recommending a change from the name limitations on grant funds to prohibited use of grant funds. And importantly, number 3, we're including cash equivalents include gas cards, gift certificates, or other types of gift cards. And we've just kind of cleaned up the language a little bit throughout 10A is also significant because if we didn't include this exclusion, so 10 says specific medical costs, including physician fees, prescription medications, over-the-counter medications, medical insurance premiums or copays, emergency room fees, and after-hour clinic fees are considered prohibited use of grant funds. And so we just want to clarify that this does not include direct costs paid to mental health providers through the veteran mental health category. And then moving on to the next page, we have additional prohibited use of grant funds. We've included in 13 reference to the NOGA instead of grant agreement. So any cost that's not allowable under the NOGA, the FVA, the Fund for Veterans Assistance Fiscal Guidelines, the Texas Grant Management Standards, or 2 CFR 200 would be prohibited. So kind of gives a good catch-all for the agency. And then the last one is a catch-all as well. Any additional unallowable expenses, costs, or services that are outlined in the RFA.
Okay. So that gives us the authority to prohibit additional expenses if on an annual basis when we review the RFA.
Yes, ma'am.
That is correct, ma'am.
Okay. Any questions? Ina?
Okay, the next rule, there were no changes to evaluation of grant applications. For grant amendments, 460.11, we are including here the rules for what the executive director can approve and then what the commissioners can approve. This is as stated in the RFA. We just believe it was important to include in the rules because it's so significant and has great impact on the program. Would you like me to read those?
No, we have them. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions?
Can you? I can't hear you.
On 460.11 E, our final and not
It will be non-appealable.
non-appealable. Okay.
It was and not appealable. We're changing it to non-appealable.
Oh, I didn't see the line through the T.
Oh.
My bad.
No problem.
It looked like that. My bad. Sorry.
Okay, moving on. 460.16, Housing for Texas Heroes. This section we are recommending removing because we've included these references in 460.7.
Okay.
Any questions or, okay. 460.12, Veterans County Service Offices Grants. We just included the acronym for VCSOs. And a few times, actually, I forgot to mention in 460.7, we have changed the language of families to include dependents and surviving spouses so we can be more specific with the public. We thought it was important to keep the specific rules for the VCSOs, given their importance to the agency. Any questions?
No.
Okay, moving on. 460.13. Irv, do you want to explain this one?
This is just, again, clarifying on the service dog program by the administrative code. The key thing we put on here was number 4. The nonprofit organization must hold a accreditation by the ADI, which we just are making sure that the organization's new because we've had organizations that weren't accredited apply.
And also recommending removing the term pilot here, since this has been enacted, well, it's been at least 2 years now.
So just to clarify, the ADI accreditation is not required by statute. However, we are requiring it by this rule.
No, ma'am, it is required by statute.
ADI is required by statute. Okay,
ma'am.
so we're just making sure that's in there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on to subchapter B, this is the monitoring activities. Not many changes to 460.2. We've just updated grant agreement to RFA. We've removed expenditure. I don't know if you want to explain why we removed expenditure.
Yes, ma'am. We removed expenditure and focused on performance as in the current RFA. And I think Commissioner Wright expressed on that if they do it for less money, we're kind of not focusing on the money. And some grantees were focused more on the money rather than on performance.
Perfect.
Thanks, Irv. Moving on to the next section, 460.21. We're just updating the language to NOGA instead of grant agreement, including the Texas grant management standards. This, throughout the administrative rules, it currently states the outdated term, which was the State of Texas Uniform Grant Management Standards. So that is an update throughout. And also we're referring to the most updated versions because those do change with the comptroller and also with ECFR. Grant monitoring and 460.22. No real significant changes. There was duplicative language that we're removing. Do you have anything, Irv?
Yes, we have one question. Commissioner Wright.
And I'm going to go off a little bit oddly, but we, as we're going through, the service dog program is 460.13, and we've jumped to 460.20. We okay with that? Or am I just noticing something that's irrelevant?
No, Commissioner Wright, it's a good point. We're now in the subchapter B, a different subchapter for monitoring. So that's where the numbering scheme just changes.
Okay. So there's more back there that coincides with that.
That coincides with what?
Going in order. I don't even know if that matters. I just noticed weird things.
We can go back. So subchapter A finishes with 460.13.
Correct.
And then just kind of to start a new, I guess maybe it's for the public, right? When you go and it's like 460.1, 460.2, it's kind of a clean way to enter. I think that's the reasoning behind that.
I was just curious.
No problem.
So it's not a 20, it's a 0.2.
It's 0.20.
So it's not 20. So that's what I'm saying. It normally go from 13 to 14 to 15 to 16. And we're jumping from 13 to 20, but this is really section 460.2.
That's correct. It's
Yes,
each
ma'am.
of these they're really. It's just a listing of multiple rules. So each of these is its own rule. 460.1, 460.3. So that's why you jump. And yes, there is a zero afterwards, but you are correct. It is a 460.2, which is a new rule, different than 460.1.
Mm-hmm. Understood. So, Chair, do you want to change it to be 460.2 and not 20? I mean, but the
No, I'm just explaining it's not 20.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to
We were at 2.2, right?
2.2. Any questions on 2.2, 460.22? Okay, moving on to 460.23, fiscal monitoring. We added stronger language. It currently says processes and procedures used to assess a grantee may include. We've changed that to shall include a review, evaluation, and determination regarding compliance with the NOGA, the RFA, the Texas Grant Management Standards, and 2 CFR 200, Uniform Administrative Requirements, Cost Principles, and Audit Requirements for federal awards, or one or more of the following. And so it gives a really broad opportunity to monitor the grantees and make sure that they're following the rules. Do you have anything, Irv? Any questions on that section?
No, let's move on.
Okay. And the next page had duplicative language again, and we removed that. Okay, 460.24. In this section, this is monitoring reports. We've modified mailing date to say postmark date, just for clarity of where the date would be located. The other changes are not significant unless there are any questions on them.
Okay.
Okay. 460.25, this is where the agency access to records was included from subchapter A. There were no modifications to that language.
So this is the paste part of the cut and paste. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And now we're moving on to subchapter C, corrective action. We're using NOGA instead of grant agreement throughout again. In 460.31, this is about the non-compliance. Do you want to explain these changes, Irv?
Again, ma'am, commissioners, this change was for to make sure it aligns with in the previous rule and had expenditures. We've gotten rid of those and focused on the benchmarks. And just again, the governing documents that we use, the NOGA, the RFA, the Texas Grant Management Standards, and the E2 CFR.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to 460.32. This was entitled corrective action. We're modifying that to course of corrective action. And this just describes the actions that would be taken by the agency.
Okay.
And in what types of circumstances. And then we've added C, which states if the agency determines that the grantee demonstrates significant findings, the agency will send a corrective action notice to the grantee. And I see we're missing a period. We'll make sure that it's not missing when we file.
Okay.
And 460.33, this is about the notice of corrective action. So we're modifying the kind of title to what is that letter called? Instead of a letter, we're going to call it a notice. And we're including here that the notices should be sent by certified mail and also courtesy copy sent by email to the grantee. The appeal of corrective action. So this is what I was referencing to at the beginning, that we are taking subchapter E and we're talking the appeals directly after each section. So this is the corrective action appeal. There are not many changes to it, except that 460.32B 1 through 4 should be through 10 because there are 10 reasons outlined. But nothing else changes here. This is the corrective action appeal.
And those appeals go all the way to
the executive director. And they stop with the executive director. His decision would be final. Any questions? Okay. Now moving on to D. This was called deobligation of funds. We're recommending a change to the title of this subchapter to deobligation of funds and grant termination. Actually, it was deobligation of grant funds before. So the purpose here is modified a bit to state the purpose of this subchapter is to describe the acts of non-compliance that will initiate a deobligation of funds or grant termination for a grantee, and the procedures when deobligation of funds and or grant termination is necessary. The reasoning for changing the title from deobligation of grant funds to deobligation of funds and grant termination is because the first is a financial term, the second is what the agency would be doing. So deobligating the funds, but then also taking that the FEA director would take that action to terminate the grant. Any questions? Okay, 460.41, we've included the additional grant termination throughout, and we've just cleaned up this language to be more in alignment with the RFA. So monthly reporting requirements instead of periodic. We've changed the reference to the appeal because the appeal is now in this section, and removed the expenditure benchmarks. And then the next section describes the notification of deobligation of funds and or grant termination. This would be sent by certified mail. That part doesn't change. The terminology of calling it a letter changes to notice. And then we're adding the commission shall determine whether to deobligate funds and or terminate a grant.
Yeah. And then the next section is where you added the appeals.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Chairwoman.
Yes, ma'am.
And in this one, the commission is the appeal.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then if you go on to appeals, you'll see that all of that language in subchapter E would be recommended for repeal.
They be removed because you added it to the other sections.
That's right.
Is that the last few pages of it?
Yes.
I could see why we repealed and replaced.
A lot of changes.
Well, one, I appreciate all the staff time to go through this to make sure it truly is cleaned up. It's come to my attention that I think James Crabtree, our government relations, may have a comment on one of the changes. I would like to call him up for our consideration. And let's see if we can move back to the section. If you could please tell me which section has the service dog program wording, because that's where we're going to be going. That's what we're going to be talking about.
Yes, ma'am. For the record, my name's James Crabtree. I'm the Government Relations Director for the Texas Veterans Commission. It just came to Brad Burnett and my attention when you mentioned getting rid of the word pilot. The legislation that was passed, HB 2951, is very clear that the pilot program doesn't end until September 1 of 2027. In fact, the legislation states not later than October 1st, 2026, the commission, which is the TVC, shall prepare and submit a report evaluating the pilot program to the governor, lieutenant governor, speaker of the House of Representatives, and appropriate standing committees. And the report must include recommendations for legislative or other action, an evaluation of the pilot program's effectiveness, including a recommendation on whether or not the pilot program should be continued, expanded, or terminated. And it says the pilot program concludes, and this section expires September 1, 2027. So I think we're just a little ahead of the gun on this one.
Okay. So, Commissioners, that's page 20. So with that, it sounds like the recommendation is to not remove the word pilot from the rules at this time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So any other questions about the changes to the rules? Okay. Good catch. Thank you, James. Wouldn't have to go back again. Let's see here. Any other presentation? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the proposed new rules for Title 40, TAC Part 15, Chapter 460, Fund for Assistance Program, with the noted change of keeping the word pilot in on page 20?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Oh, what? Do I have a second? Oh, is it Commissioner Hernandez? Thank you. Any further discussion? No. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes.
Ma'am?
Yes.
One thing. I think we were still on agenda item I, which is the proposed repeal. Did we repeal?
Thank you. We'll do that one as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Team effort. Appreciate it. Moving back, do I also hear a motion to approve the proposed rule appeal of the original wording of Title 40 TAC Part 15, Chapter 460, Fund for Veteran Assistance Program?
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you for catching that. Anything else I missed? Okay. Good. Alrighty. So that concludes our main consideration items for today. And I do not know of any reason to go into executive session. So with that, we'll have discussion and action on our next commission meeting. Actually, just discussion on our next commission meeting. So we'll be moving into our next meeting will be in February. So the staff has recommended that our next commission meeting be held on February 10th, 2026 at 9 a.m. Any concerns from commissioners on that date?
I might be in a jury trial.
You might be in a jury trial. That's fine.
If I'm still here.
If you're still in your position, understood. Is there a better date in that month, or just we'll adjust as necessary? Okay, we'll adjust as necessary. Okay, happy to see it's not on Valentine's Day. Okay, with that, our next meeting is scheduled for February 10th, 2026 at the George H.W. Bush Building, Boardroom 430, 4.300, Austin, Texas at 9 a.m. And now I'll call on each of the commissioners if you have any closing comments. So I'll start with our vice chair, Commissioner Barber.
Thank you. First and foremost, Mary and Mike, if you are replaced, not replaced, you can never be replaced, but it's been an honor to serve with you too. And thank you for everything that you do for veterans. Thank you. Happy Veterans Day to everyone. I had a lot of good events and meetings. One thing that jumped out at me was when we did some of these hiring events, where the amount of veterans that were showing up looking for employment seems to be getting bigger out here. So something to keep an eye on. The VA also told me that they have 1,000 veterans requesting medical treatment a month right now. 1,000 veterans increase seeking treatment. They're saying they're moving into the Houston area because they're concerned about healthcare, et cetera. So that load's getting bigger as well. One thing that I talked about is the fact that for a while now, I've seen kind of a trend towards veterans as victims. We're veterans, we're not victims. So keep that in mind when you're out there. A lot of people, I think right now are kind of playing that card. I hate to see that go on. Everyone be safe over the next few months. And that concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. Secretary, right?
First, to my fellow Marines, happy birthday, especially to Commissioner Hernandez.
Thank you.
It's a really good first 250. Let's see what we can do from here.
Simplify.
Simplify, sir. I want to thank again our staff who continues to do an exemplary job. I routinely have people walk up to me at events, out socially, wherever, when they find out I'm one of the commissioners, and discuss what a really good job that TVC has done, how they have assisted our veterans. And the only remark I hate is who's TVC and what do you do? But I then bend their ear for a while so that they know. And I will also want to mention to the esteemed Colonel, you did a great job representing us at the governor's cake cutting. Thank you so much for being there. Thank you.
We have a lot of colonels in the room now.
He knew who I was talking to.
I'm like, thank you. Commissioner Dale.
Oh my goodness. I have a feeling I'll probably see you all again, but just in case. I want to thank you for the support and the hard work that I have seen and that you have given me during my tenure here. I came on, I don't think I met my fellow commissioners for almost a year, coming on during COVID. And the fact that you were doing everything that you could do still during that time. And then, I came in and got to see you all in action, and then you all moved buildings, and all kinds of stuff happened, but the services never stopped. We continued, government shut down, we talked about that today. You all continued to do your job amongst the challenges and everything that came at you. I want to thank you. I've been very impressed, been very honored to sit on this commission. And I will miss you all, but I'm not going far. I'm not going away. So you will definitely see me around.
Thank you. Commissioner Hernandez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Up to Monday night, I was prepared to be with you in person, but circumstances change. And I want to thank the staff for providing the accommodations for me to be with you remotely. First of all, I want to thank co-chairs, commissioners. It's been a been a pleasure to serve with you, especially our Madam Chair. You run a tight boat, and I want to thank you for your management on your meetings. The only thing I regret, and I apologize, that I could continue to show up on your docket. The other thing is for the staff, the directors, all the way down to the program directors and the staff that are out in the field. I've had the opportunity to meet all of you and see the enthusiasm that you have for serving our veterans throughout the state. One of the things that I have communicated over the events and other events that have occurred throughout the state is that in order for me to connect with the veterans, their families, and survivors, I keep telling my story 58 years ago that I was a stretcher medevac from the rice paddies of Vietnam, all the way back to 5 months of recuperation. My separation was difficult. Readjustment was at the beginning. There was wasn't able to connect with the benefits that I had earned. And throughout the years, I've been fortunate to have served with veterans in the employment service and with veterans organizations. And even though I haven't been notified that I'm replaced, and I fully expect to be at the next commissioners meeting, if this is my last commissioners meeting, I want to thank everyone for the hospitality and the hard work that you've done for our veterans throughout the state. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mike. Tom, do you have any comments?
Well, I just want to thank Commissioner Dale and Commissioner Hernandez for your dedicated service to our state and country. And I was proud to serve with you, and hopefully we'll see you in February until the governor office. We'll appoint your replacements. But it's been very proud. I've been very proud to serve with you, and I thank everybody for their due diligence and hard work serving our veterans.
Thank you, Tom. I also want to thank Mary and Mike for your service to Texas veterans and on the commission. It's been an honor to serve with you, and you'll be sorely missed. I refuse to admit you won't be here at the next meeting. I feel like you should be. Yeah, most likely because I don't know if you know, our commissioners will stay in holdover status until the governor appoint someone. So likely they will be here the next meeting and possibly even in May. I know that has happened before, but I will make sure that we honor you and your service appropriately with a formal presentation when the time is right. Because while it feels like you signed up for a quarterly meeting, we all know it's so much more than that. And it is our honor to attend as many events as we can and to represent veterans. So I have one last thing. Well, first of all, happy Veterans Day to everyone, to both all of our commissioners and our staff that have served and continue to serve. But I want to take one moment. We're all going to go up forward again, commissioners, because I'm going to surprise Tom with a certificate of appreciation for his number of years of service with the Veterans Commission, because he has met a milestone, and I couldn't get it on the agenda without him knowing about it. So I'm going to use my closing comments to do so. So, commissioners, let's all come up front, and Tom front and center.
It's the root, and no one snuck it down.
Oh, right.
Thank you.
All right, so Texas Veterans Commission Certificate of Appreciation presented to Thomas P. Palladino, October 1, 2010 to October 1, 2025, in a grateful appreciation of your outstanding leadership, vision, and unwavering commitment to the mission of the Texas Veterans Commission. Your dedication to excellence and steadfast support of Texas veterans, their families, and survivors have strengthened this organization and advanced the quality of service we provide. Through your guidance, integrity, and example, you have inspired others to serve with pride and purpose. Signed, Chairwoman Laura Kerner, Vice Chair Kevin Barber, Secretary Chuck Wright, Member Mike Hernandez, and Member Mary Dale Lopez. 15 years.
Congratulations.
Commissioners, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I hear a second from Commissioner Wright. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion is approved. This meeting is adjourned.